Three, two, one. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting film journey here on Delusions of Grandeur. We are back with another film that has been suggested by none other than my fiance Tammy. So, why don't you tell us what film you subjected us to this week?
It's called Crimson Peak. Um,
And it was filmed in 2015, directed by Guillermo Del Toro, um, and it um, stars, I believe, Tom Holland, not Tom Holland,
Tom Hiddleston.
Tom Hiddleston, who played Loki from the Marvel series, um, and among others. So, Tammy, why did you suggest this movie?
well, we are in October. Figured it would fit for the month because
At least somebody gets it.
it's got ghosts in it and a plot. A kind of mysterious evil plot.
Murder.
You know, and later on in the movie, you'll see that lots of things are red, which really goes for Halloween.
Oh, true.
So, I just figured it fit in, and I figured it was something everybody get into, especially with I always say his name on El Toro. You know, he has good movies.
Yep. So let's see what IMDb says about the film. In the aftermath of a family tragedy, an aspiring author is torn between love for her childhood friend and the temptation of a mysterious outsider. Trying to escape the ghosts of her past, she is swept away to a house that breathes, bleeds, and remembers. So, some of the other cast members in here, besides Tom Hiddleston, was Maya Wasikowski, who played Edith, and Jessica Chastain, who played Lucille Sharp. And Jim Bieber, who played Carter Cushing. And Charlie Hunnam, who played Dr. Alan McMichael. Jim Bieber, you might know from the Supernatural series. But go ahead, Kroll. What was your first impression?
Yeah, this is the first time I've seen it. Yeah, I liked it. It was different. It wasn't just ghosts like I expected. It was ghosts, but the ghosts, it just like the Black Phone, the ghosts kind of helped her instead of being the scary and trying to kill you ghosts. They were helpful ghosts. Were scary. Was kind of a little scary. I mean, I wasn't scared, but definitely good drawing on it. Definitely, I could see people being scared of that ghost. You know, the mother and the girl later. So, but yeah, it was a good movie. The house was on the outside from far. The house looked really gorgeous, and then when you got closer, of course, you saw how dilapidated it was on the outside. And inside, oh, what a fucking mess! They should be ashamed of themselves having such a beautiful house and ruining it.
Yeah, you can still see some of the beauty though inside, even though.
Oh yeah, definitely. You could see how it could have looked once, or it could look again. So yeah, and it's cool. It had an elevator.
Oh, that elevator was The elevator itself was scary, though. It was so
Oh,
funny.
I agree. I wouldn't get in that thing for anything.
That
Screw
thing was
you.
creepy,
I
man.
don't like elevators. Period. And something like that. Yeah, no. I'll walk. Thank you. Yeah. Um. But yeah, it was a decent movie. Definitely. Definitely good. And Tom Hiddleston is great as Loki. He's a great actor. I mean, you can definitely see everything he does. He in his character is somewhat like Loki in this. You know, he's a villain at first, and then he kind of turns around. Not he isn't quite a villain. You know, kind of like Loki. So it was definitely see some comparisons between the two characters that he played, but he does it all so well. um you know, and he was a con man, which is like a trickster, and he was a trickster god. So again, you know, he kind of played Loki in this, in a way. Not completely, but close.
Okay, and Boris, what is your first impression?
Uh, yeah, this was the first time I watched the movie, and my first impressions were good as well. Although maybe since the movie was presented the way it was, and I heard it would be about mysteries and stuff, maybe I expected a little bit more plot twists. The question was whether Tom Hiddleston's character was good or bad, and I hoped the final answer to that would be a little bit more complex than it was, but okay. All in all, it was still pretty good. It was enjoyable, suspenseful enough. Uh, Maybe I would say the only problem the biggest issue I had with it was that we never got to know how exactly Edith's mother knew what was going on at Crimson Peak, or actually, since Edith was still a little girl when her mother died and started to appear to her as a ghost. All the things there had not even happened yet, I assume. So that makes me wonder even more how she could have known all that. And that question was never answered in the movie, as far as I could see. So, uh,
I think basically when she was a young girl, I think basically her mother came back to like as a ghost that like was trying to protect her and was trying to warn her about the future, and it had something to do with the ring I think that she wore.
oh,
And
yeah, but how could the ghost of her mother know what would happen in the future?
she might not have known exactly what was going to happen, but she wanted to warn her to beware and that she would be there. Kind of, I think she was warning her to beware and letting her know that she would be there to protect her.
Huh.
What it was, more or less. And because of that, I think that's why the ghosts at the estate ended up protecting her because I think they already knew she had like a protection from her mother. You know, like ghosts communicate with ghosts type of thing.
Mm, maybe. Yeah, the ghosts did also look kind of similar to each other.
Except for the red.
Maybe.
I just always found that amusing that one of the scenes is that ghost that was in the bathtub. It was like right away I thought of The Shining.
Oh, me too. Yeah, yeah, I was reminded of that scene as well.
So is that all then?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, how about you, David?
Well, I'm not a stranger to Guillermo del Toro's work. He's often strange and has an air of mystery around some of his films.
Is this your first time watching it?
It is not my first time watching the film.
No, that's because of me. Because when it first came out, I was going crazy. I wanted to see it.
Yeah, she was going crazy. She wanted to see it, but I ended up getting a real cool copy of it later on. Um, Someone ended up selling me the Arrow special limited edition of it got this cool cover, and it's and it's a little bit different release than their normal because it's actually like cardboard. So it's got a poster that came with it, um, which is kind of neat. Not sure if you can see that, or is that upside down? Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
There we go.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it
And
looks
then
better that way.
that I honestly like the one on the back better, the other side, because there's something about like the ghostliness of that, and then it comes with some like photos and junk. It's actually kind of like its own unique thing. I mean, if you ended up buying it on its own, it would probably look fairly similar to this, except maybe in plastic. But it's a very cool, very out of print copy of an Arrow release. See, that's what I'm talking about with boutique labels. Sometimes they actually put some really cool shit out. So, but as far as the film goes, I do like the story. I do like that Victorian period, that Gothic sensibility. I mean, it even has that somewhat like lore-ish type thing going on, where you got Tom Hiddleston's character. He comes and he wants to bring his work to the world, and it seems like no matter who he goes to, hard work and hard labor is something to show for, and he keeps getting let down. Well, push comes to shove, he shoves back, and Edith is a writer. She's aspiring and she's romantic. She's got these romantic ideas about this young man, and so she's swallowed up in the romantics of it, and she ends up being swept off to that place, and the place is cool. I mean, I love the look of the place outside and inside.
Well, she's not totally romantic, because when she showed her manuscript to that one guy, he wanted her to be more romantic, and she said that's not what she wanted
Oh
to
yeah,
do.
yeah, true.
Oh yeah, that's right.
She in her manuscript, she had stuff about ghosts, and the guy was really pushing.
Wanted her to be a little bit more lewd and erotic.
Yeah, because she was a female, he thought this is how she should write, and that's why she was actually redoing her manuscript when she met him. What's his name? Because she would figured if she typed it, it would be
Or
looked
you
at
couldn't tell
differently.
from her because her handwriting is too feminine. She wants
Right.
to type this, so you couldn't tell it was a female writing it.
And you could tell that her father, who had given her that pen, was very proud of giving it to her. And when she just put it down, he was like, "Why did I spend the money on that shit?" But yeah,
Yeah.
evidently she's like his doting daughter, like his only daughter, and he's kind of like a rich dude, you know, and it's just a little sad that he gets killed, and she ends up, you know, in the brother and sister's clutch.
He's a good actor. I've seen him in a few things besides
Yeah,
Supernatural.
Oh yeah, Tom Hiddleston.
Not Tom Hiddleston, the father.
Oh, the father. Yeah, Ben.
Tom Hiddleston has never been in Supernatural.
No, he is not. But he has been in such things
yeah, I
as
did think.
The Night Manager, and he was in that film that I had you guys watch on the other channel called High Rise. And
Oh, I forgot he was in that.
But other than that, yeah, I like the special effects in this film. I love the skeletal look of some of the spirits. The only thing is that one that was like crawling down the hall. That one almost slightly reminded me of like some of the ghosts that you see in like Haunted Mansion or Dark Shadows. And those are like the fake looking ghosts.
I don't know that one. I think that was the coolest looking one. One that came out of the floor and then came crawling after her.
Yeah, I thought that was cool too.
I thought it was cool, but for some reason or other, it just kind of reminded me of some of that stuff. But when the skeletons came out of the vats in that one room, and later when you saw the ghost in the bathtub, that was cool. So I loved bits and pieces of it. And some of the fact that she found like some of these like old phonographic things. I don't know what it is about those old phonographs. Those look cool. But
Aren't those like they're called dictators or something?
yeah, they're dictators. But they're cylinder dictators. I believe
Right.
that's what they were called.
They had those in Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Indeed, they did. So,
I think they
that's
also
pretty
had
much
it.
it for me.
I thought they also had it in Invisible Man.
In the Invisible Man, yeah, I believe they did too with that. So,
See, I do somewhat pay attention to things.
what about you, Tammy? Well, was this a first time watch for you?
Obviously not, but yeah, I definitely when I saw the ads for it and everything when it came out, it really got my attention. So yes, I definitely went. I don't remember how soon after it came out I saw it, but I thought it was pretty soon. Um, I like other things that Del Toro does, thanks to being around David. So I've seen other things, but yeah, I mean, I like things with ghosts. I like things with cool like mansions and like wicked looking places, and you know the plot itself was very intriguing, and I like the era too. I thought that was neat, and although there were so many things about it that I really liked. I liked how she was investigating things, to find out what was going on, and but Edith was she was trying to be nice and pleasant and everything about everything, but you could tell she was thinking, you know, that something isn't right and this isn't right, but she was still putting on that nice, nice persona. And I like that she was trying so hard to do something with her manuscript at a time that women probably weren't known that much for being an author.
In fact, oftentimes they would have to go under a ghost name.
Correct. Which just goes to show you how many things at certain times in the past, how many different things women were not considered to be able to do. You know, which is
It was the
sad.
dawn of the women's suffrage era.
So, okay.
So the film begins, as we've somewhat mentioned, with Edith, who is the daughter of a rich man who sits on a council of men that appear to be able to make decisions involving certain inventions at times, and
he's very, very, very outspoken and very about how he got where he is from hard work. That everybody on the council got where they are for hard work. So they're
except for the
not
lawyer. I like that part.
just hand
Yeah, that
things
was funny.
over.
Yeah.
But then again, that's understandable.
It's not too different nowadays either.
No, but he really pushed on that about the hard work and
Yeah, and he took his hands and said, "Your hands are as smooth as a baby's bottoms, or a bottom, or something like that." And
Very smoothest hands he ever felt.
have never seen hard labor. So, but yeah, he does not take rejection well, honestly. Shortly after that, and actually, Edith is kind of eavesdropping on that whole meeting and whatnot. So when her father comes out, she kind of berates him a little bit. Well, what is so wrong about him wanting to, get this made and whatnot? Not.
that's because she was already awestruck with him because he taught to her and looked at her manuscript and in just a few minutes was starting to read it and said how great it was. So now, he's got her attention.
Mm-hmm. He paid attention to what she likes, and honestly, it pays off in the end, because he does end up, ultimately marrying her.
But her father doesn't. There's something he tells her. There's something he just doesn't like about him. His decision wasn't only on what he presented.
It's the unknown, and that's what scares him.
Right. He did. There was just something that he did not feel right about him, and we shortly find out that he did have him investigated.
Yep.
Him and his sister.
Meanwhile, Edith does have a best friend in a doctor dude. Sort of. I would say more than best friend, because I think he has more feelings for her than she does for him.
Obviously, yes.
Yeah, he obviously loves her.
But he starts his own investigation after her father dies. And I guess he has some conversations with the man in charge of handling the estate of Edith, um, throughout the film. And it's shortly that we actually are introduced to what is her name? I know she's the sister of
Lucille.
yes, Lucille, who was played by Jessica Chastain. What do we think about Lucille and Thomas Sharp as characters?
They're a little bit nuts. In the end, when we discover the whole truth about them.
Just
In
a
the
little bit?
end, that's when you discovered it.
Just a little bit?
In the end, that's when you discovered it. Slowpoke.
Well, Lucille has always seemed very dark and very.
I discovered it way before the end.
Oh,
Well, and
well, okay.
one of the things
Wait.
that this machine that he was trying to have the men invest in, one of the things that he could harvest was this red tint,
Clay.
red clay
Uh,
that was coming from the ground of Crimson Peak, which is why it's called Crimson Peak, is because that's where this clay comes from.
Wait, sorry, I wanted to ask Kroll something about what he said. So you say you figured them out earlier in the movie. At which point did you figure out the true nature of their relationship?
When I mean, I suspected before, but when she flipped out that she slept with him,
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
I was like, ooh, I bet she's the wife, and yeah.
yeah, at that point I started to have suspicions, but we didn't know for sure that they
Well, I
were.
knew for sure. I
My
mean, yeah, they didn't tell us for sure, but I was like 99% sure, so I was right.
I thought of her as a very dark person. The moment we met her, she was sitting there playing the piano, and then when she came up, because her brother and Edith unexpectedly showed up to that gathering, and basically got everybody's attention. And when just the way she looked at Edith was just like daggers almost, when she met her. And it was just like,
Mm,
why is she looking at her like that? Like she's just ready to pounce on her, and she's just meeting her. She seems
yes,
she seemed
Women
very
be
dark
crazy.
in there.
she to me she seems a bit like Norma Bates type of character.
She yeah, she definitely was dark and she played beautiful piano, but that doesn't mean anything.
I thought that the dance though was really pretty. I thought that was really neat, and what he did with holding the candle and everything, and how
That
he
that doesn't
explained.
make any sense though. The way they were moving, I would think that would more likely make the flame go out than not. But okay,
I
because
just
they.
thought it was a neat little.
Oh, I agree. I thought it was
Trick.
neat too. I just thought it was weird that the flame. I would think it would be the opposite way that the way they were moving would make the flame go out.
Mm,
I mean, waltzes a pretty dance, and they definitely did it very well.
So we'll have to try it sometime with the candle, see if it goes out.
Try not to burn the house down when you do it.
Yeah.
So something mysterious happens with her father, and her father passes away.
Something
Uh,
mysterious.
Risk.
He gets his head smashed in.
he, gets,
Spudaw!
he does.
That was a split out. Yeah, no,
That was definitely a
Correct.
spit out.
Sorry,
To break
Kroll,
to
what did you say?
It was definitely a spit out. A break a
I
sink
said,
with
yeah,
the
it was
bed.
definitely a spit out. Now I
And
thought it
what did
was,
the
I
doctor
Yeah,
thought, I thought it was
say
him at
about it?
first. I thought it was him at first. I didn't realize it was the sister, until a little bit later. It was her that did everything. Um,
yeah, it was sad, but it was a
Yeah, he
spudao at the
didn't
same
become
time.
he didn't become a possible killer until he stabbed the doctor later on. Because
no, he didn't
I
even.
wasn't sure what was
He,
going to happen.
he didn't even then, because he said to the doctor, where do I stab him? Like he wanted to stab him, so his sister thought the guy was dead, but not actually kill him. So he asked the doctor where to stab him, so he's not gonna die. And obviously the doctor knows, so he points to the spot and then he stabbed him. So even though he wasn't exactly a nice guy, but he didn't want to kill anyone, and he didn't want his sister to kill her anymore. He wanted his sister to kill him anymore. He was tired of anyone more dying, and he fell in love with her too. um but
And
you could
yeah,
tell
because
right from
that
the
wasn't.
beginning that was happening, because the sister was immediately jealous of her, and immediately could tell that
I
his,
do like how the spirits of the place were actually like pointing for her on where to go to find out what truly happened there.
yeah, that's what I
You
was
know,
saying. They were helpful spirits, more like the Black Phone. If you guys seen that. um
More on what you were saying about Thomas. That was the name, right? In there.
yeah,
Yes.
Um,
yeah, but
he
Thomas
was
wasn't
he wasn't
Thomas wasn't
supposed
actually
to
a,
fall
a,
in
a
love.
Thomas wasn't a killer, and he was, you know
I think he was being used by his sister just as much as she was using everybody else. It's just was conniving to him too, and I
yeah.
think by him falling in love, and which was he wasn't supposed to fall in love.
Now, yeah, and then she said something about when he was born wrong or something. They never explained that. Like, I don't like. He didn't.
Oh, I think she
well,
was talking about the time when they had a baby, and the baby was supposedly deformed because
well,
No,
they were siblings.
it wasn't a baby between brother and sister though. It was a baby between father and
no.
daughter.
I'm talking about. I'm talking about the son. The yeah. Talk about Thomas. They said Thomas was born wrong, and
Oh,
her mother wanted to kill him or whatever, and she, no, he's mine or whatever, and like right from the beginning, the sister was
No,
like,
I think she was actually talking about her actual son. It was not
No,
Thomas.
no, no, no. She did say that.
she
Did
said it
I
she?
was Thomas.
She said about Thomas. I think
Hmm.
She
I
never
think
had
she
a
knew that
son.
Thomas was not like her, as in and wasn't like the mother, that he wasn't wicked. I think they knew that he had a good heart and a good soul, and I think that was something they realized from the beginning of him, so he didn't fit in, kind of like.
hmm.
Okay, but there was a son that was talked about
Correct.
that was born um, a mutant, basically that they should have killed, but they didn't.
If you
Yeah,
say so.
yeah. I do think both things were mentioned. I
Well,
know the thing about the baby was mentioned. This part about Thomas as a child, I don't remember very well, but I believe it was mentioned too.
It was in the attic up in the study
Yeah, when she was talking to her and
before she stabbed
she
him.
was making her, oh, and she was trying to make her sign that thing, and you saw. I thought that was wicked that she had cut like that length of hair and curled it up, and you saw those like other like pieces of hair
Because those are all
or
her other
things of hair
victims.
all lined up in a row.
Yeah, and it was interesting to notice that when she added Edith's hair into the drawer was full. She couldn't add one more, which maybe not sure if it was intentional, but it kind of symbolizes that it would be the last time she manages to do something like that.
And when she was trying to give her the tea when she was in bed after she had fallen downstairs, I do like how like that moment where she was talking about how she had to take care of her mother, um, and the way she spoke about it was so.
Oh yeah, when she was feeding her the oatmeal or whatever, and the way she was doing it with over the cup like that and scraping the spoon on the edge of it as she was talking. You know, it was just ooh, creepy.
Well, and she said, and she described that she had actually bathed her mom and taken care of her, and how uh, daddy was a little abusive. In fact, they took care of him, and once they took care of him, they took care of her. And I imagine from the description of how she had to take care of her mom is that she didn't really like taking care of her mom. You know, it was something more of a chore, and I think she also poisoned her mother as well.
She did.
Yes.
But um, we found out that in the other areas that they had actually visited before they had visited Edith, that there were some cylinders of audio left from various people from those areas, which made you feel and believe that they had attached themselves to different people and collected different monies to, uh, you know, uh, do exactly what they were doing to Edith here.
Well, that all comes together when Edith finds that um trunk
Mm-hmm.
with the name on it, so she sees the key on the keys. This says the same thing, and
Yep.
manages to get the key away, and that's where she finds the envelopes that basically go along with those cylinders.
Yeah, Enola.
And
Uh,
then she, and you know that Lucille knows when she puts that key back too. That's because she already knows she's up to something and realizes the key is gone, and she purposely leaves the key is for her to put the key back. So she already knows that she's up to something.
Yep.
yeah, although one thing I didn't quite understand is in the end, supposedly it turned out that they were killing women for money, but how exactly was that helping them acquire money?
Well,
They
I do.
signed the money over. They signed the money to John, who he'd marry them, and they'd sign the money over to the husband
Oh,
of the inventions and stuff.
I do
oh,
think that Thomas does realize that his sister is doing something to her, which is why he
Well, he
tells
already
her to go
knew.
outside of the room, and then he does have a conversation with her, saying, "Hey, why do we have to kill her?" Why do we have to do this? No, isn't enough enough?
Yeah, he tells her not to drink the tea anymore, um, to stop her from being poisoned. And this is like, it's okay because I put it in the porridge too.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think in the previous murders, I think he was participating, but I think this is the point where he had enough and didn't want to do it anymore, which
yeah,
was
I don't think he
probably
was in love with the other ones, and he
yeah,
actually
he
yeah,
wasn't.
was.
No.
yeah, that
He was in
too.
love with he fell in love with her, and that changed his
Yep.
his.
And
But
Edith
he was just
attempts
done
to
with murder
leave.
altogether because he didn't love the doctor and he didn't want to kill him either. So
It's a little strange because she does attempt to leave, and that's when she gets bedridden the next day and whatnot. But then when she attempts to leave again, that's when she runs straight smack dab into the doctor, who has invited himself to the estate of
yeah,
Crimson
because
Lake.
he knows what's going on, and wants to get his friend out of there.
Yep. And meanwhile, he attempts to try to take her out, and that's when brother and sister follow, and he tries to say, "Hey, we need to get her to a hospital," and she's like, "No, that's not happening."
He said that's not necessary.
Yep. And he attempts to leave, and that's when she pulls out a knife that she had grabbed before coming in and stabs him, and he
In the
staggers
armpit.
a little bit towards the door. Yeah, and he pulls that thing out the arm. Stuff drips from it. I'm like you know. But he staggers a little bit towards the door, and that's when she tells Thomas, "Well, if you're not going to do anything, I will." So Thomas, that's when he goes up to him, and as you said, Crow, like, "I'm not a doctor. Just tell me where to stick this, and I will." And he
He
does.
goes if I don't, she will. So no,
Correct.
meaning she'll stab him where she's certain that he'll die. So
Correct. And
he
then
doesn't want to kill him. So
he actually brings him down to that area where all that vat is, and I think he kind of like sticks him in one of them.
no, he's not in him. He's just next to it.
Just next to it.
I thought I saw him being
No,
lowered into one of them before he left him there. He said,
No, you saw one of the ghosts kind of bubbling up out of one,
Oh, oh yeah, yeah.
but that happened a couple times actually. So,
"Yeah,"
but
but he ends up going back up, and that's about when we get that moment with Lucille and Edith, and she's trying to make her sign all of her monies over to her.
what did
Um,
you guys think of all of the red stuff though bubbling up everywhere? And
the
the
clay.
vat.
It was
Did
neat.
you think that was? What did you think of that?
It was neat.
Well, yeah, it definitely looked cool, and it went along with the title, and I guess it was all made to make us think of blood, even though not all of it was blood. But yeah,
It
and
wasn't.
actually, before Lucille had Edith in there, wasn't it Thomas who came up to her in that same study, and she like stabbed him and killed him,
No.
or was that a little bit later?
Well,
Lucille killed him, as far as I
yeah,
remember.
she killed him, but
Yeah,
her
Lucille
and
killed him.
Edith, her and Edith already had one bout together, and then Thomas went to go defend her to Lucille, and that's when they get into it. But you gotta remember too, beforehand, before all this totally erupted, Lucille caught brother and sister in a compromising position, you might
Yeah,
say.
that's before she got
Yeah,
thrown down the
yeah, them two were
stair.
fucking.
Yeah,
Well, they were getting close. They were getting close to it. Yes.
yeah, and of course the sister's like, now you know the truth. No way, no reason to hide, and chasing her, and then that's when she's like, you're not his sister, you're his wife, and she's like, no, we're both, or something like that, and it's just like, I was just like, ew, like, yeah.
Yeah, that was probably the most shocking moment.
And everybody talks about Leia and Luke kissing. Game of Thrones esque.
Yeah, when there was the moment when Lucille was showing signs of jealousy, that was when I thought maybe she's not a sister, maybe she's actually his wife. But then when they ended up, sorry, what?
She's a lover, and yet,
Yeah,
with how robotic that she is, how can she reciprocate that love? It's more lust to her. It's more.
It's a
Uh,
way to control because she really is his sister. But
yes,
this is how she has basically, I think, controlled him for all the years. You know,
mm, yeah.
and honestly, that's how a lot of royalty did things back in the day. If you wanted to continue the bloodline, let's marry the sister, the cousin,
No,
the
usually, no. Usually it was a cousin, not the
Oh,
sister.
yeah.
Usually it was a cousin.
I always thought it was kosher in England, but anyways,
No, it was cousin. It was not. It was not.
it's not immediate family.
Yeah, it wasn't the immediate family. It was still looked down upon even than for brother and sister. Like look at Game of Thrones. When they found out that the queen and her brother were sleeping together.
What do you think of his machine?
It worked. He was obviously a brilliant inventor.
I like the look of it. I mean, I like some of the looks of some of the older inventions. It looked like something that was similar to like the modern day oil rigging machines.
I thought it looked neat too. I thought, you know, so at that time to make something like that work, it had to be huge and it had to have all these different parts and this and that. Nowadays it probably is about half the size and about half of the parts to do it. But at that time, they thought he had to do this and this and this and this to make it work.
And when Edith ended up going outside for a moment, it was Thomas's ghost who ended up helping her because I think Lucille was coming after her in the snow.
Yeah, well, it was more of a distraction because she's like, "Are you gonna help me?" He's like, and she when she turned around, that's when um, Edith hit her with the shovel
Yep.
and kept hitting her because she's like, "You said it's either me or you,"
What do you
and
think
I
about
heard
when
I heard you the
Thomas
first time, so
got
she's like,
stabbed in the face and he just kind of like pulled it right out of his face like that? That when she stabbed him in the face.
"Yeah."
Oh, that
That
was
was
not.
that was kind of like, oh, that was creepy when he just pulled that right out of his face like that.
Wasn't it in
I
his
thought he
eye?
was gonna. I thought he was gonna stab her with it, but he didn't.
Yeah, for a moment when that happened, for a moment I thought maybe they weren't even humans. After all, I thought they would turn out to be, I don't know, something supernatural that makes them impossible to kill or something.
No,
That's what I kind of thought at first
I
too.
didn't think that.
I
Oh,
did at
like they were
first.
immortal or some shit.
Yeah,
Something.
because see, when they were showing, when Edith was looking
You
at
guys
all those
watch too many
paper,
movies.
those clippings, she looked at all those paper clippings of these other women, and when she found all the paperwork and stuff, and it almost seemed like he hadn't changed in all those pictures. So I was wondering if he it was something else because it seemed like in all those pictures he looked the same.
Like Dick Clark.
So when she stabbed him in the face like that, he pulled it out. For a moment, I was wondering too if he was something else.
I
Uh,
never thought that.
yeah, for a moment I did.
I just thought she was gonna stab her.
Uh, yeah.
But in any case, shortly after that, that is when we see the doctor and her stumbling towards the gate, and she's talking about ghosts, and you see uh, uh, the inside of the place. You see someone. I believe it would be like Lucille's ghost sitting at the piano. The fireplace
Yeah.
springs up as if like someone had stoked the fire, and it's like the camera pans through the house. You see the front staircase, and it I believe it travels through the estate a little bit just to show you. I do like all the different hallways that are in this place. How long they look, and some of the wooden ornate stuff. Um, that stuff is cool. What do y'all think about that ending?
Mm, uh, I thought it was pretty good. Maybe I felt a little bit sorry for Thomas in the end because he wanted to change and make things better, and then he got killed. That was a bit of a bummer, but aside from that, it's a good ending.
Well, he changed in the end, and kind of like Darth Vader, and
Uh, yeah, actually, pretty much like that.
He's always got to get that Star Wars in there.
everything goes back to Star Wars, man. Everything.
If you say so.
Yeah,
But
and then that always gave like, yeah, Star Wars goes back to the Japanese shit and whatever, and maybe it does, but who cares?
in any case, let's talk about production if we haven't already. I know a lot of us have mentioned various scenes of the spirits and whatnot, but and I think we've covered a lot of that throughout this discussion. But is there anything else that anyone wanted to say on production?
I just thought it was really good production. I liked it. I mean, it's 2015 movies. No reason it wouldn't be good production unless it was one of those B movie you people like, which it was not. So, yeah, it was definitely good production, and yeah, I liked it. Yeah, it was definitely done well.
I think
Uh,
the use of that red clay really enhanced the movie by having that, you know, when he was outside, when Thomas was outside by the machine and he was walking in the snow and the red came up just in his footprints. I thought that was like a neat thing. That when they first got to the house and he was,
and they're
showing
showing the
how it's
floorboard that the house is sinking, and
right. and then when she finally goes downstairs for the first time where she's not supposed to go, and she sees the vats and everything. I think that the whole idea of that red really enhanced the movie, and and by him saying that that's how the area got called Crimson Peak because of it. So I think production used that redness in all the right places, just perfect. And even with the ghosts having the red on them, it was. I think that was
It
really
was a
good.
unique use of colorage.
Yeah.
Can't get that in black and white.
I would love to see what this film would look like in black and white, though. I bet you it would look even more gothic. But
Who knows?
other than that, hey, I like black and white, and there are a lot of people who do.
Oh, come on, you guys. Let's not start this war again.
Uh,
Just
aren't
because you hate it doesn't mean that others
I don't
do.
hate it. I just don't think it's right for a lot of things.
aren't they like a pair of squabbling squabs?
You're a squabbling squad.
But
I mean, I agree to some point. I mean, okay, Star Wars, that would not be good in black and white. Okay, you definitely need the colors and the whole franchise.
that I agree.
Oh yeah.
That is not something
Yeah, I
that would be
definitely
good
agree.
in black and white. But I do agree when it comes to like certain horror movies.
The Universal movies were good in black and white.
Right, a lot of the horror movies would be good in black and white because it does make them a little
But
bit
that
more
doesn't mean all of
scary.
them.
There are some recent black and white films that I think that were relatively decent.
You love black and white, so that doesn't count.
Including films like Here Comes Hell, The Black Gloves.
Oh yeah, I saw that one.
Another B movie.
Uh,
I
That-
just say I think black
theoretically,
and white has its place, and it's not in certain movies. Like most comedies would not. It, black and white wouldn't do anything for them. Any of the Star Wars franchise, no, that wouldn't work. Anything like that. In horror, black and white actually brings out, I think, the horror out of a lot of horror movies. You know,
mm,
it makes it more intense.
most of the Three Stooges short films were in black and white.
Well, Three
I rest
Stooges,
my
Three
case.
Stooges, they're in a game of their own.
She said comedy. She didn't say idiots.
I, that was comedy.
Yeah,
There were a
idiots.
lot of Abbott and Costello movies that were in black and white.
It's because they didn't have color.
Even if they did.
They didn't have color. Laurel and Hardy too, but they didn't have color when they did those movies. They didn't. I mean, I'm not saying, if they didn't have color, it's bad. No, I mean, if there's color and they don't use it, is what I'm saying, and it's not a horror movie, it's laziness.
See, I
Okay,
can't, I
but
can't imagine the Three Stooges being in color. I really can't.
but well, you guys never saw the
Three
Three Stooges
Stooges
remake?
and the Snow White and the Seven Dwarves
You
movie
got
that was in color.
Yeah, that one
you guys
was.
never saw the Three Stooges remake movie?
Yeah.
They did in like
I
the 90s.
I
That was
think
in color.
I think I
For the most part, though, like their comedy skits and stuff like that, I just can't imagine it being switched.
I
But
could. Oh, Well, the good ones, Laurel and Hardy and Alan Costello,
Well, Boris,
Buster
what did you
Keaton.
think of the production?
Oh, I thought the production was pretty good. As Tammy said, the effect of all the redness whenever something red appeared on screen, it was really good. And also, I liked the architecture, the interiors of that house, and I had one more thing on mind I wanted to say, but now I can't remember. But oh yeah, the ghosts, of course, the ghosts were amazingly done.
I
Okay,
Uh,
think the long hallways, like David was talking about, kind of remind me in a way of Rose Red.
just a little bit. I can understand. I can get that.
But I still think that that one scene with that ghost in the bathtub, as soon as I saw the ghost in the bathtub, I immediately thought of The Shining.
The
I was
long
gonna say,
yeah.
I was gonna say the hallways remind me of The Shining.
the hallways remind me of the remake of The Haunting.
Oh, yeah, because of the architecture
Yep.
in the hallways.
Hmm.
So, let's talk about music. What did y'all think about the music?
It was perfect for the movie. I mean, for the period. I mean, like I said, she was incredible. I don't know if the actress was actually playing the piano, but it seemed like she was, and if she was, she did a incredible job. I mean, it was good music. I mean, yeah, classical
The
music is
music,
great.
the music was done by composer Fernando Velázquez, and he did composing music behind. I'm looking as far back as he's gone. Okay, so he's been around since the late '90s. Looking for looking for where he. Okay, so he put music behind a horror movie called The Backwoods with um I believe that was Gary Oldman in there. Savage Grace. He did music behind Guillermo Del Toro's first movie, The Orphanage. Uh, then he put music behind a horror film from 2008 called Shiver, which I know I have around here somewhere. Let's see, looking. Then for the good of others. Oh, uh, Boris, you'll remember this one. He did the music behind the film Devil.
Oh, the elevator one.
Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah, I do remember that one.
And then he did music behind a film called The Monitor. I don't. I remember the title. I just haven't seen that. He did music behind the horror film Mama, which I remember that was talked about a lot. I think that one was also Guillermo Del Toro. He also did the one behind the Dwayne Johnson Hercules.
Well, can
That's
we forget about that?
an independent film that I know that I have. It's called Out of the Dark. It was a film that I ended up picking up, and then of course Crimson Peak. And after Crimson Peak, he went on to do Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, which I thought was a very well put together zombie film. Um, and then behind the anthology like film called A Monster Calls, he did the music behind that. Uh, and he did the music behind another independent one that I picked up called Marrowbone. Let's see. And into future ones, I guess he's gonna be doing stuff behind something called Inspector Sun and the Curse of the Black Widow. I don't know what that is, but there's a lot of stuff that he's done in between, and he's mostly done films for the most part in Spanish. I guess he did music behind something called Super Lopez back in 2018. But anyways, moving on to favorite scenes and favorite characters. Let's go with you, Crow. What was your favorite scene and or favorite character?
I think the favorite scene is with the ghost coming up from the floor and then coming after her. I really enjoyed that. It was really good. And looking back, I think maybe she was coming after her to talk to her, to warn her, not to scare her, but it just she didn't know that. Quite frankly, I would have ran too. So yeah, I think that scene was just so well done, and I really enjoyed that scene. All the ghost scenes were really well done. That one just in particular stands out, and I don't know. I guess I don't know. I mean, I obviously like Edith. She's a sweet girl. She's smart. You know, she isn't just the victim. She fights back. It's a little harder for. I mean, she fights well considering she's been poisoned and everything. Oh look, hot girl's here.
Yeah, I think.
I'm blocking them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some spam account. Apparently, looks like it sent some suspicious link. And I would like to say, if anyone is watching this discussion, I strongly advise you not to click on that link because you will
Nope.
probably get a virus or something
Getting
like
some
that.
definite clickbait. So
Anyways, yeah, but I guess Thomas is probably the best character. I mean, he's just does it just you don't like him. You realize what kind of person he is right away. Um, they're up to something, and he's not a good guy and everything. But then he turns around, and I don't know. It's just a very interesting character, and like I said, Tom Hiddleston is a great actor, and so I think I wouldn't say favorite, but yeah, he's definitely the most interesting character and has the most development in the movie. Whereas the sister pretty much stays the same. Edith pretty much stays the same. Throughout the movie, he changes. Um, he just is like a con man with his sister at first, and then he falls for her, and he just does a great job, and shows the depth of the character, and then you kind of realize that yeah, he had a thing with his sister, which is but it was sister was manipulating him right from the get go, from the start. um I don't know, who knows when the affair started between the two, but I'm guessing at a young age. So basically, yeah. So you realize that it's all he's known, and then he even though it's all he's known, love redeemed him to a degree, and showed him the error of his ways, and he tried to change, and then unfortunately he was killed before he could atone for things he did, but he tried, and he did help her at the end as a ghost. So yeah, I'd say he's the best character.
Okay. Heading over to you, Boris. Why don't you tell us who is your favorite character and or favorite scenes?
Oh, favorite scene? Oh, that would be a bit difficult to choose. There were many scenes that were really good, but maybe I would go with the scene when Lucille was making the whole confession to Edith. When we, hello, can you still hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm,
Okay, when Lucille was making a confession to Edith, when we got to know everything she and Thomas did when they were younger, that was, well, okay, it wasn't good, but it was definitely one of the most suspenseful moments in the movie where I was really looking forward to hearing where the whole thing was going. So it was, to me at least, one of the most intense and most suspenseful moments. And of course, the scene when Thomas appeared as a ghost and helped her get rid of Lucille finally. Now, my favorite character. Probably Edith. I also like Talon, although we didn't really get to see very much of him. But as far as we did see, he was also a really good one. And of course, Thomas himself is also a very interesting one. As you already said, I also like the fact that falling in love with Edith made him change and made him want to make things better. And you said that you already knew from the beginning that he would be bad. Well, at first, I must say I didn't know he would be bad when the father was having his prejudices about him. I kind of thought there would be some twists that maybe I expected maybe the movie would have us expect him to be a bad guy, but then maybe then there would be some twist where we would find out that he wasn't really as bad. That maybe I expected it would be a case of not everything being the way it seemed. Like when originally the father judged him badly without even knowing him, I kind of hoped the father would be proven wrong, but no, he was proven right. Um, uh, but yeah, definitely is one of the most interesting characters. But I guess if I have to choose one, probably Edith after all.
okay. Heading over to you, Tammy. What did you think? What did you find as a favorite scene and a favorite character?
Well, my favorite character is Edith because she looks all sweet, innocent, and naive, and she really isn't. You know, she
Mm,
goes and investigates things. She went where she wasn't supposed to go. She caught on to things with Lucille. You know, she's not quite as naive and innocent as she's made out to be. And, you know, she really has a strong spirit behind her. And I,
Literally and figuratively.
ye-
so I guess my favorite scenes would, I do agree with Kroll. I really like all the ghost scenes. But one other one I like though is I do love the waltz. I thought that was really, I thought it was beautiful when they did the
yeah,
waltz.
yeah.
As for me, I do like all of the ghosts and the special effects that have to do with them. I thought some of them were unique because some of them were actually like blood skeletons, you know. Uh,
Mm.
so that was cool. He did some color design with some of the spirits, so that was cool. As far as favorite scenes, I don't know. I guess the scene where Lucille stabs Thomas in it, trying to think, because I think she stabbed him like in the eye.
No,
I think it was
no.
a little bit below the eye,
Yeah.
if I
She stabs
remember.
him twice in like the shoulder area, and then she stabs him in the cheek.
Okay, but however, like he pulled it out and whatnot. That to me is like one of my favorite scenes, and I guess I kind of do like that ghost in the tub moment, you know. Um, and that moment in the vat where she's leaving and you see the skeleton bubbling up from below. That was cool.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but favorite character, I don't know why, but I guess my favorite character is Lucille.
Ooh.
Uh,
Wait.
just because she emanates so much evil. You know, she shows you how unfeeling she is.
And that's
You
why I was provocative saying Thomas. Jeez,
know,
he's Thomas
and
like redeemed.
she shows you what crazy really is. You know,
I want to say crazy. See my ex-girlfriend. No, I'm just
uh,
kidding.
Yeah, like I said, she reminded me quite a bit of Norma Bates from Psycho 4, the beginning.
yeah, just a little bit. She's she's definitely a little bit off center. That's for sure.
A
and she
little
thinks
bit.
and she thinks that she's right in what she's doing. So she thinks that it's acceptable. You know, uh, and obviously she thinks that they could never, they could probably get away with anything. You know, as long as she does all the dirty work of hiding it, of covering up everything. So.
Yeah.
Um, on that note, did anyone else have anything else to add to the film?
I think when we were talking about favorite characters, I said Edith was my favorite character, but I didn't end up saying why, although the others did say it for me pretty much. I also really liked the fact that she was doing things on her own initiative and that she was fighting back, that she wouldn't let them get her so easily, and that she eventually defeated them.
Okay. Well, thank you for listening to our discussion on this film, ladies and gentlemen, and hopefully you've enjoyed what we've talked about. Let us know down in the comments what you thought of the film and whether you felt any different. So, and next a week, we're going to be doing a film suggested to us by our good friend Boris here. It's some good old fashioned Japanese J horror.
It's
Uh,
What?
actually it is a lot like Japanese movies, but it's
I
not.
thought I was next week.
are you?
No,
Oh,
Boris is always after me.
oh. Uh,
Yeah,
It
uh,
but
goes
I'm
Dave.
always after Dave. But I'm always after Dave. But you went after Dave.
It's David, me, Boris, then you.
I'm not last.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I was always after Dave.
I was always after Dave.
No,
I have been for 14 years.
no. We haven't been doing this for 14 years.
Talk about crazy there. But yep, we're going to be covering the movie Shutter, if I remember correctly. So make
And then we'll
sure
be
your
doing Nightmare on
cameras
Elm
are
Street.
all straightened, and get ready for that. And then after we cover that film, we are going to be covering the original Nightmare on Elm Street, brought to us by choice from our good friend Kroll here. So hopefully y'all can get ready for some nightmares as we go from Shutter to Elm Street. So everyone say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
But
Spoon